Firms need to have a lot of information about their market, their customers and their competitors so that they can make better marketing decisions. This will reduce the level of risk associated with marketing activities. As customer tastes can change very quickly, it's important that businesses keep up with their customer needs. Otherwise, the customers will stop buying. There are two broad types of research that businesses can use: primary and secondary. Let's look at a diagram to make this easier. See how I've got primary here and secondary here? Each one can be broken down further. Primary research can either be qualitative or quantitative. Qualitative uses focus groups and in-depth interviews, whereas quantitative uses surveys or observation. Secondary research can either use internal or external sources. Internal sources include sales data, and external sources includes government statistics or independent research. You can use this diagram to make sure you revise all these areas. But let's compare primary and secondary research. Here's a table with the main differences between the two types of research. As we can see, primary research means using first-hand data that hasn't been collected before, whereas secondary already exists in some form. Because primary is designed by you, it's specific to your needs and looks precisely at a business issue, whereas secondary can't be so specific because it already exists, meaning it was never designed exactly for your current research purposes. Because secondary already exists, it can be out of date. This can be a big problem if the research is about a market that changes quickly, like the clothing market, where tastes change all the time. Primary research avoids this problem and means the research is always up to date. Unfortunately, primary research can take a long time to collect and can be very expensive. Secondary avoids these problems and is therefore a popular choice with smaller firms. As you can see, there are pros and cons of each, and which type is used really comes down to the business and how much time and/or money they have and the type of information required. Therefore, you need to carefully look at the case study for clues about the type of research they may require. Remember that market research can't guarantee success, but it may improve the firm's chances of making the right decisions. This can be a very useful evaluation point in an essay that looks at whether market research can actually guarantee success. Primary data can be further divided into qualitative or quantitative research. Qualitative research focuses on feelings and beliefs and information which is harder for us to explain. For example, what if someone were to ask you what image Gillette created in your mind? Maybe it creates an image of strong, successful men. You may not know why you think this, but it's useful information for the researcher when creating future adverts. This type of market research asks fewer people, but gets more detailed feedback. Quantitative research focuses on more factual data. For example, how many times do you eat takeaway food a month? Completing questionnaires or surveys is quantitative and is often used as firms usually ask lots of people and get general feedback. The value of qualitative or quantitative research depends on the skill of whoever prepares the research and designs the questions, the number of people asked, and how those people are chosen. This brings us on to sampling. There's no way that a firm can ask all its customers unless it operates in a business market where there are a limited number of businesses. So, they need to ask a smaller proportion of their market, and these people will represent the total market. This is sampling. The larger the sample, the more likely the data collected will represent general views. Two common methods of sampling are random and quota sampling. Random sampling means that everybody in your market has a known chance of being selected to take part in the research. Therefore, you somehow need a complete list of people. This is generally difficult to get hold of. For example, would Cadbury's have a complete list of dairy milk customers? Yet research taking place in a college may be able to be done using random sampling, as the college would have a complete list of students. Quota sampling is much more commonly used because the characteristics of your target market are mirrored in the sample. An example might make this easier to understand. Hello, we are very lucky today to have a rising star of the advertising world with us, young Will Charles. So welcome, Will. Very nice to meet you. Thanks very much for sharing your time with us today.
Just like to give something back, you know, to the little people.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's not at all.
So you're here today to talk about market research with us, am I right?
Well, a bit of an expert myself.
Are you?
My success is phenomenal. Well, basically, one of our major customers is a chocolate manufacturer.
Oh, right.
All right, okay. Now, they know that their customers, for one of their main products, Choco Dream Bar.
Oh, Choco Dream Bars.
Yeah?
I love those.
Well, their customers are broken down like this, and I'll just go through the figures with them. I don't expect you to understand some of them, but, you know, I mean, we can always go through them again, can't we?
Well, we can try. Go on, in your own time.
Now then, 70% of their customers are women. And then the other 30% are men.
Right.
You see? Now, of the women, 50% are aged between 16 and 24. Okay?
You're right.
And then the other 50% are aged between 25 and 40.
I see.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're still with me?
Yeah, you've not lost me so far.
Now, of the men, 50% are aged between 16 and 24.
Right.
And the other 50% are aged between 25 and 40.
That makes sense.
Yeah? You sure? I don't mind going over it again.
I've got it, Will. Carry on, please.
Now, if they decided to conduct a survey, okay, on a sample of about 1,000 people, it's a lot of people, isn't it?
It is a lot of people, Will, yes.
And used quota sampling to find the 1,000 people.
Right.
Yeah. Quota sampling.
Quota sampling,
You
yes.
familiar with that term?
I've heard the term before, Will. Thanks very much, yes.
I don't mind going over it again.
It's all right, Will.
Pride hurts no one.
No, please carry on.
Okay. Now, the researchers would have to find and interview these types of people. And I've got it written down. I've got a quota sample.
Please.
I could have remembered it, but of
Could
course
you?
I thought I'd write it
Why
down.
don't you try?
Now, 700. Now, 700 would be women, because this is 70% of 1,000. You see? This is maths. I don't, you know, I do the figures. And then 300 would have to be men.
Right.
Okay? Because that's 30%, you see?
I know what 30% of 100 is, Will.
Oh, okay. Now, of the 700 women, 350 would have to be aged between 16 and 24. You see? Because this is 50% of 700.
Right.
Have I lost you?
No.
Okay. And 350 would have to be aged between 25 and 40.
See?
Very
I'm still
good.
with you.
Oh. Now, of the 300 men, 150 would have to be aged between 16 and 24. And that leaves the other 50%, which is another 150, which would have to be aged between 25 and 40.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Well, that's the quota sample. Would you like to go through it again?
No, it's fine.
I don't mind.
I was with you. No, that was lovely and slow for me. Thank you.
No problem at all. Now, the researchers,
Right.
it's people like me.
Like yourself, like your lovely self.
Well, yes. Yeah. Now, the researchers can then go out and interview people that match this profile. So finding the right people to interview becomes quicker and easier. And I must like to add that quota sampling is one of many reasons why I've become so successful today.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you, Will. That was a wonderful explanation to us all. It has been lovely to meet you. Thank you very much for coming into the studio.
Come here.
Thanks very much, Will.
Now then, should we talk about my successes?
No.
Let's talk about my successes.
I'm sorry, Will, we are out of time. We are out of time.
Well, I've just bought my second Jaguar, actually. Would you like to come for a drive?
Yes, why not?
Yeah?
Thanks, Will.
Yes. Come on then.
Later. In the exam, there may be reference to confidence levels. You only need to understand that this means how confident the business can be that the research results will be accurate. For example, using a statistical calculation, firms can work out whether their research results are 68% accurate or 95% accurate. Now we've looked at the content, let's have a look at the type of exam questions you might be faced with. Firstly, you might be asked to explain why a company has chosen a particular type of research. This could be why they've chosen primary over secondary or qualitative over quantitative. It's important to define the term used in the question to show your understanding and gain knowledge or content marks straight away. You then need to think carefully about the business in the case study. Does the business have a small market research budget? If it does, it may not be able to afford to do primary market research. Do they need the information quickly? If they do, then maybe secondary would be better. Does the business want an in-depth understanding of what image their product portrays? If they do, then primary will be more suitable. You might be faced with a question like this. To what extent does market research guarantee success for a firm? This is a more general question and is looking for you to show evaluation skills. As soon as you see to what extent, you know it's an evaluation question. Because evaluation is the highest level skill, it also means that the question will have marks available for content or knowledge and application and analysis. Have a go at writing the essay plan for this question. Only spend a couple of minutes on it though. Had a go? Your plan probably includes some of these points. A definition of market research, reasons why market research can lead to success, better customer understanding. It's easier to tailor products to customers' needs and allow the marketing mix to be applied effectively. It can keep you one step ahead of the competition, development of new products, reasons why market research alone cannot lead to success, ability to act on findings required, importance of correct pricing, competitor actions, economic changes, evaluation points. Success depends on money available, skill, sample size. Can only help up to a certain point. It's really good to start with a definition so that the examiner can award content marks straight away. The next thing to do is consider the structure of the essay. Because it's an evaluation question, using the trigger to what extent, you need to provide a balanced answer. In this case, it will be ways in which market research can lead to success and ways in which market research can't necessarily lead to success, and factors other than market research which are important. Market research can lead to better customer understanding. The consequences of this are that products can be tailored to customer needs and therefore may sell better, and the marketing mix can be applied more accurately and so be more effective. By showing the consequences of any ideas, you'll be gaining analysis marks. The second part of the essay will provide balance in your answer. For example, market research can only lead to success if the firm actually acts on the findings. Factors like pricing or other marketing mix aspects can affect success just as much as research. Also, the research will not tell you what your competitor's next move is or what economic changes may occur. For example, an increase in interest rates may reduce disposable income and therefore spending on your products. What's really important is that you can show the examiner that the success of market research very much depends on how much money was spent on the research, the skill of the person designing the research, and how many people were asked. You also need to show that other things are important, like what the competitors do.